Hello nerds, it is Thursday, January the 31st, and that means it is game 31 of the meditation games. Today's game was made by Sophie Houlden, and they've left a little blurb for us, so I'll read it out for you. On this day, in 1997, a game that meant a lot to me was released. Oh, what game was it? 1997. I'll have to look at that later, I don't know. It was the first game to give me a very particular feeling, one that was powerful enough to make me want to make games myself. That is awesome. Now I really want to know what this game is. With this little game, I'll try to share that with you. Awesome, okay. I'm looking forward to that. What have we got? Do I click there? Cool. Aha! Get dressed. Spike up the hair? Was the hair already spiked? I don't know. Pick up a sword. Was it a gift? I wonder if that's telling how they got the sword? Go outside. I assume that's meet a friend who's just been punched by a king. Gasp! He's flipping them off. King, I don't know, it looked like a snowman king. It was flipping off our hero whilst his ninja sidekicks beat up everyone. That looks very Ninja Brian, if you ask me. Go, ninjas. Aha! Sword and death and King's legged it. Oh, man. They're kicking a puppy? Kill them. Oh, the puppy's in there. Yeah, good puppy. Hell yeah. We've made a friend. Thumbs up. Oh. So now they've got a party. Knocked down the door. More ninjas. Knee kicking in. And the king. It's fighty time, but the king is so powerful. Oh, he's ripped as well. They're tired, but they are determined. It's time to fight the king again, and the king is shocked for a reason. I wonder why that is. Oh, I think the sheer determination made the king go, oh shit. He's looked at them, and there's a sword going through his back, and everyone's like, oh my god! And it's a hooded fellow. An evil-looking hooded fellow. What's going on there? Oh, I think that's his arms popping out of the robe. I get it. Yeah, Magic King. Oh, he's broke our progress bar. You punk. Yeah, I'm shocked too. And has run past them. Not sure what that's about. And pinched our hero's sword. Little git. Some electric. Some downtime. Flee! And the kingdom is now in darkness. And a big tower is raising with monsters. Oh, no, monsters. Oh. Grr. Even the sun's gone red. But he's evil, so he's very happy about that. Our heroes, exhausted, but determination. It's just so magical. Okay, it's quest time. Ah, Ninja Dog needs no sword, and apparently our hero doesn't need a sword either, so that's good news. Into a dungeon. Where Evil Man is. The dog's punched his lights out. Oh, what's that? Oh! Pinched the sword and handed it back. He's like, oh, no, it was all jokes. No, screw you. Sword to the face. Die. And the kingdom is restored. Hurrah! Yeah! And that's the end. I have a funny feeling I know what game it is. I think it's Final Fantasy VII. The sword coming out of the chest was like, that was Sephiroth. The big sword that went through the chest was a cloud sword. The sword that our hero had looked like the Sephiroth sword. And the cowled figure looked like the Sephiroth cultists. I think it's Final Fantasy VII. I think that's the game that they're on about. I don't know if the dog is like a reference to Red 13. I don't know. I know. So let's see if I'm right. So 90. Well, we've got a date. January 31st, 1997. Game release. Top of the list. Final Fantasy VII, 1998. What? Windows DOS release. Right. Okay. So yeah, January the 31st. Final Fantasy VII, PS1. That's the game. 100%. I'm absolutely certain of it. 99%. 90%. 90% sure that that's the game. I'd be amazed if it wasn't. And to be fair, that's a hell of a game. I remember Final Fantasy VII incredibly well. I was already in high school by the time that game came out. And I remember all the magazine previews showing how good looking the game was. I remember a very particular screenshot, and it showed the train going around the pillar just after the first bombing mission. I remember all the kids in school looking at it and getting psyched. People were like, look at the graphics on this thing. This thing's amazing. And I remember not being too impressed with the article, but I remember looking at that and going, that's really good looking. And then looking at the next screenshot, and there's these big blocky people. It's like, who are those? But it was a game that everyone was talking about. The magazines were raving over it, so I picked up a rental of it. I played it. I have been a huge lover of the JRPG, just the turn-based RPG series ever since. I picked up a turn-based RPG that I had for the Game Gear years ago and didn't really like, because the combat system reminded me of it. So that was Defenders of Oasis for the Game Gear. I picked that up because when I played Final Fantasy VII and it had that turn-based combat, I was like, Defenders of Oasis had that. So I picked it up, played it, enjoyed it. And yeah, I've been playing them all ever since. Final Fantasy VII's a mixed history with me. I adore the game series. But the main problem is my brother and my sister also really adored the game series. And we only had one PlayStation. And I was definitely last in the pecking order. So my brother and my sister played the game to death. And Final Fantasy VIII was already well out by the time it was like my turn to be able to actually play Final Fantasy VII properly. So I didn't beat the game for years, but it's a wonderful, magical game for me. I remember it very, very well. I remember watching them both play it. And whenever they weren't paying attention or whenever they were bored or whatever, I'd sneak a go and have a quick blast or whatever. So yeah, I got a very strong love of the game, and it's really cool to see someone else having that strong love of the game and making a meditation about it, but also to learn that that's what made them want to make games. It's damn cool. Weirdly, it's an RPG for me, because I would love to be able to make games. I can't. I'm a bit stupid. Luckily, there's idiot-friendly tools these days, so maybe I'll still make one. But for me, it was Ultima 4, and I picked up the Master System version. But it was that RPG. It was that sense of, not necessarily making the game, but for me, it was the sense of creating that world that really enticed me to the idea of game making. And maybe one day I'll do it. Not this day, but one day, here's hoping. So I really enjoyed that. The graphical style and the presentation were fantastic. The entire game takes place with that black border framing it, which it was probably just because it was an easy size to doodle in, but it reminds me very much of Mega Drive era cutscenes, and actually before Mega Drive era as well. I think Amiga did quite a lot of that. But yeah, it reminds me of those old school narrative delivery vehicles, which I thoroughly enjoy. And weirdly, Final Fantasy VII actually was the first game that I played that had absolutely mind-blowing cinematics. I couldn't believe how bloody awesome they were. So again, I'm wondering if that the style of it, presenting it in a sort of FMV style, still by still, was also a homage to that, a homage to the fact that I think for a lot of people, Final Fantasy VII was the first game to make people go, cut sequences are awesome. But Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver still got the best cutscenes, so, you know. I'll also leave a link below to Sophie's Twitter page and their itch.io page. I've spent the last maybe hour and a half to 2 hours just playing some of their games on there. In particular, I got stuck on, I think it's is it Dawnchild or Duskchild? I can't remember the name of the game, but it reminds me very much of classic ZX Spectrum era screen-by-screen adventure platformers. So games like Finders Keepers or Nighttime or the Dizzy games. And I know that they've got some inspiration from that because I saw they made a Dizzy game as well called Mystical Dizzy, I can't remember. But either way, definitely check the page out. There's some damn cool stuff on there. And yeah, well worth looking into. So huge thank you to Sophie for making today's game, and thank you for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.